Hello everyone, you're listening to Kicking It, a martial arts journey. And as always, I would be Tim.
And I'm Anne. Is prophecy.
A serendipitous.
What?
We are in the Taekwondowon Museum in Korea. After your training, like in uniform, name a better day.
We got to stay in our uniform, and we're in the World Taekwondo Federation Museum.
That was quite a beautiful museum, and there was some English, there was some Korean.
So people can see this is the map of the place that we're staying. So we just took a short bus ride to get to where we were staying to the museum, and this is where we were training. So like this is what the whole entire grounds looked like. Immaculate design. This one must be for the Taekwondo Museum.
Now, one thing I do have to say about the Taekwondo Museum, and there's people who are like deep in the Taekwondo world, may be offended by this, and I don't know if I was offended, but it was a noticeable absence. There was a big old history of Taekwondo thing that like basically stretched down a whole hall, and this is World Taekwondo, not International Taekwondo, and General Che's name was not on there at all, which felt weird.
It did.
And frankly, slightly uncomfortable. That was the one thing about that museum I'm like, what's happening here? So clearly at some point there was a big political split and World Taekwondo has decided not to put his name on things. I don't know what it was. Maybe that'll take some deep diving research.
I did a little research, and I won't spend too much time on this because I noticed that too, especially when I was walking through the Hall of the History. Shannon also noticed too, and she stuck there a moment with me, and we searched. There was a little note at the bottom of one of the years that said, "Oh, by the way, this is when ITF was invented." And it was small, so it was like interesting. Why is that so small? And that brings up like where's the disconnect? And from what because I did extensive research on that after too, because I was just so curious. And we can talk more about this another time. But it's basically because General Che, he was born in what is now North Korea, but at the time when he was born, it was not North Korea. And he, of course, having been from there, he didn't see it as any different. The people are the people. It's the governments that's the issue. So he did want to bring some Taekwondo knowledge to the North Korean people. And so when he did that, it just wasn't okay with whoever decided it wasn't okay.
Okay. That
Which is
would make sense
because
why
everyone does deserve
an organization
to learn Taekwondo.
might. Yeah.
Especially as an anthropologist, I'm kind of picturing this was more small scale, than maybe what, history is making it seem. He probably just went back to his hometown and was showing the people around him Taekwondo.
Yeah.
And by that point, it was North Korea, and it's like this big new issue.
I'm no expert on the subject, but I am pretty sure the North Korean military uses Taekwondo as their hand-to-hand combat training. My source on this is an episode of Deadliest Warrior.
Do you think that they blame him for that?
That is a question you and I don't have the answer to, but it is thought-provoking.
It sure is.
Yeah. I mean, I was sad to see it. I have a deep respect for what he did. I personally train ITF and plan to continue training ITF. So like,
I really did feel for everybody. I really did, because I know that the people that I care about, that I'm traveling with, these guys really hold ITF deeply in their heart, and it's not really what they're seeing on this round trip. And it's probably just because it's not really there. There is a disconnect that would be good to kind of look into.
But you know what?
We learned something about that.
Taekwondo. This Taekwondo, it counts. I went to Korea and I did Taekwondo. I did another take on Taekwondo than what I traditionally trained. It's Taekwondo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And even though as a WTF person, I was ecstatic. I was living it up like a kid in Disneyland. Yeah, the museum is gorgeous. They had this really beautiful little stadium thing where it showed the Olympics area, and we got to see uniforms throughout the centuries. We got to see how Taekwondo developed, and it developed ancient times, basically from a game, like sparring specifically developed from a game that little boys would play when I was sitting down and I was reading. But playing this tag game was something that they did, and this is what we do now. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah. No, it came a long way. The museum, incredible experience.
They have my forms too. Look at this. We got choreo. Kyongwon. Shipshin. Hansu. Ilio. I just really love how forms will spark so much conversation about different styles. This hallway is about how Taekwondo means different things for different people, whether it's overcoming difficulties or discrimination. It's about mental health and mental strength. This is a new floor.
So after the museum, we take a little bus up a hill, and that bus leads us to basically a train cable car. And we get in that cable car, and we go up to an observatory. And the first thing I said when we get off and I climb the stairs up that observatory, and I overlook properly for the first time, like the South Korean Black Hills esque sized mountains. The first thing I said when I walked out into that observatory was like, well, that was worth the plane ride.
Yeah, that scenery, because it had taken us to a really tall peak, and you could walk all the way around this balcony and you could see, and we took some panoramic shots. We took amazing photos of
we were still in our uniforms, so
yes.
We were still in our dobaks, so we took some sick photos in our dobaks up there, and in a form up there, which was really cool. We should mention it was one of the hottest weeks of the year up there.
Yeah, on top of that, it was one of the hottest years in history.
Yeah, it was frequently high 90s into the 100s, humidity off the chart.
Uncomfortable, yeah.
It was not comfortable outside, but that I think that just makes our experience more valuable, because we weren't going to let the discomfort of something so trivial like heat stop us.
I'm proud of our people for pushing through what we did.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself. I learned to stop caring about being super sweaty. That's something I took away from this for life that I'll be okay with now, is I learned how to just deal with my body being ridiculously overheated.
Yeah. Got back, and people were complaining about the heat, and it was still pretty hot, when I got back. I mean, it's July in Wisconsin, right? And I'm just like, it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but compared to what I was just dealing with.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was at this point we realized that, unfortunately, due to some scheduling changes, we were originally scheduled to have 2 sessions. We were only going to have the one, and we were, understandably pretty disappointed about that. And Anne was like, well, we'll go through some WTF forms outside. So we get out of our uniforms and we put on clothes because it's 97 degrees with high humidity. And we get out on this soccer field, and Anne's walking us through some TF style forms, which was fitting for where we were. We all agreed, like, hey, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When at World Taekwondo. When I had a World Taekwondo training center, training was World Taekwondo.
And I think that helped Taebaek, actually.
Yeah, and showed us the beginning of Taebaek, and that was a fun moment for me, not necessarily because we were working on Taebaek, but Taebaek school. I'm like, I'm in the South Korean mountains doing Taekwondo right now. And Anne, you were in the South Korean mountains teaching Taekwondo.
Oh, thank you.
So you get to claim that credit. There's a couple times throughout the trip I just said, fuck it, looked around and did a form real quick just to say
it was everything. Even just that stay was our own little movie, and I was glad that we could do extra training until we were all really, really tired. And even in the mornings that night, we explored.
Yeah, well, if it's not clear by what we said, there was a lot to explore at this place. When we were taking that little bus up to get on the track to go to the observatory, we noticed some temple-looking stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, we gotta see that. And at dinner, I basically told everyone, hey, if you want, I am hiking back up that mountain. There's a well-established path, and I'm checking out those temples. Who wants to come? And all the Amuro people did, and Matt and Torino, two individuals, also joined us. Master Faust joined us. And, it's a walk that I wouldn't normally call tough, but in that heat, when it's 8 o'clock at night and it's still 90-something degrees out, you're like, you just feel a little defeated. Yeah. But we were determined to get up there. You got to take the more scenic route. I didn't want to risk getting lost and not making it up there. So myself, Gavin, Master Faust, and Torino.
I remember him up there.
Yeah, he was up there. I have a photo with him up there. Yeah, no, Matt and Torino. We took the road up.
Right.
Whereas you, Lily, Chloe, and Tia took a more scenic route there. So was there anything on your scenic route worth mentioning?
There was tiny little temples on the way there that we did get to stop and take pictures of. Just seeing the flora and the bugs and stuff was really special. We did want to go in the obstacle course, if y'all remember. We were like, wow, this is all open. Nothing was closed off. Like, as far as like what I learned about us as being raised in America, we don't go into places if you can't get in. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
there's clear boundaries.
There is, yes. We make it real clear over here. But in Korea, it was not clear unless we read this really small sign that none of us read until we did go in, but we didn't go all the way in. And then one of us, I might have been me, that was like, oh my gosh, this is a sign that says we can't come in here. And then we all talked about it and we're like unanimously, yeah, we probably shouldn't be in here. So that sucked. But it was incredible. Like I said, Ninja Warriors course, it just looked so fun. So that was really cool. And we going up to when we met up with you guys at this temple, it was so serene. It was so dark too, and quite quiet, and we could get into everywhere. That it was all open ground.
Well, it was well lit. My favorite moment from getting up there, other than the journey itself and the reward at the top being these temple-looking training grounds, is there was like an elevated outdoor sparring deck, and you had to take your shoes off to get on. You had to take your shoes off to get on everything. One thing I love about the Korean culture is lack of shoes.
Yes. Same.
I love it. Shoes are foot prisons, and Koreans don't believe in having foot prisons. Anyway, climb up this second story sparring deck. This is shortly before the rest of the girls met back up with us. And I get to look out over these mountains as the sun's setting with kind of a foggy haze from the humidity of the day. And that was one of the most beautiful moments of the trip. There were many beautiful moments of the trip, but the reward of persevering through that tough walk and then getting to watch the sunset from a temple in South Korea was amazing. Yeah, and then you guys met back up with us. We walked around. We did see a door was open, and we went in. I don't know much about the Asian culture specifically, but I think I've heard that like open space is beautiful to them. They really like and admire open space, and that's what it was when we got in there. Just open space upon open space,
lots of
like
nothing,
a big,
which is really very peaceful.
Yeah. And like the thing you mentioned, it looked like there was some kind of museum further up. And I'm like, we definitely should have wandered in there, but I do believe we were okay doing what we were doing before that. I hope so. I mean, I think we were very respectful because we knew it was a training ground. We showed respect by bowing when entering, in case this, because we didn't have a full understanding of what it was. Just to be honest. During the walk down, we're talking, laughing. It's fully dark at this point. A deer jumps out right in front of Tia. They're nicknamed vampire deer because the antler-like material grows like out of their face, just above their mouth, downward. So picture this. You're in a foreign country, in the mountains, and a vampire deer jumps out.
Yeah.
Boy, is that gonna make you jump a little.
Yeah.
And it did. Yeah. And
a deer with fangs.
Yeah. And when I told my brother about it, it's like, do you mean they have tusks? I'm like, no, we looked it up. It's not ivory. Like, it's the same, like, material antlers made out of. Like, it's, but it's out of their face. Not prepared for that. And, that's kind of another thing worth talking about. Like, I consider myself pretty decent outdoorsman. I am very comfortable in the North Woods. I'm not used to not recognizing bird sounds. I'm not used to not recognizing plants. Yeah. And yet here we are, not recognizing insects, plants, bird sounds. That was out of this world. Master File Shannon is a great lover of the natural world. I mean, she's an environmental science teacher, so she knows her stuff on a deeper level than me, who's just a hobbyist outdoorsman.
She was eating it up.
Yeah. Oh, she loved it. But even she was like, this is very, very strange for me not to be recognizing plant life. So, like, if you need a reason to travel and you love the natural world, there's your reason to travel. You think you're real comfortable with your corner of the world, go to another corner of the world and just be completely and utterly humbled. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And then you could just be having a peaceful stroll back to your hotel room and vampire deer. It's a real thing. Look it up. Anyway, I do want to say on that day, as I was going to bed, I just had a strange feeling, because on that day, a very long and wonderful day, I had accomplished a lifelong dream. And when you accomplish a lifelong dream, all of a sudden you're just left with it's over. What now? Yeah. We had even talked a little bit about that in the evening, and we're like, well, we're gonna enjoy the trip as much as we can, of course. So, but like that's normal, is what I want to say. After you have that big moment of something you've been wanting for a long time, there's always that moment of, wow, what comes next?
Right. And if you're not careful, that feeling can be crushing. It can be crushing. So you gotta
that feeling can lead to not thinking you did anything, because we're always chasing that next thing. And I was wrestling with that a little as I was going to bed that night, and I honestly wrestled with it a little as I got back. But the fact is, we went there, we did that, and no one can take that memory or that experience away from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. That was really worthwhile to bring up, because that's a feeling that I have been thinking about this week for the past week straight.
Yeah, because you just got back. I've had a little more time to process, because you were in it an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of a metaphor for life, I think, because everything is in the future, you think, but technically everything is just in the now. And when you can kind of just accept that things that you anticipate and things that you look forward to in the future are very soon going to be behind you and gone.
Yeah.
And every single time it's hard, every single time, but it's always going to be like that, because that's how things perpetuate. And so if you can just find an inner peace about how things come and go like that, and every moment is important, and even those that you anticipate, it's just that equation. Everything is going to feel more important when it's in the future.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It is, but you can't undersell the importance of the things in the past that you either worked real hard for or waited real long for. You know, they equally matter. So that brings us to the next day. I woke up and I stood on my balcony and I once again enjoyed the sounds of unfamiliar birds. Loved it. And it was like 5 a.m. when I did that, and it was already 1,000,000 degrees.
Yes, we all woke up so early and it was ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
The girls and I, we got up to go and train. We wanted to go to the old ancient style training ground. And it was really hard to do so because it was so hot. Kind of like I mentioned, there was the ropes, the sandbags, the wooden platforms for balance practice. Then there was the precision balls on a string, the rock pots for strength training, and then there was the balance beams. And everyone really enjoyed doing Kyongwon.
Yeah.
On the balance beams. Well, that's the WTF form, if I'm not mistaken. But everyone did poem. Is that the one where you guys?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's a bit. Yep. That's on like one minus line.
Nice.
It can literally be done in a prison cell. It's been tested, and they did that on a balance beam.
Yeah.
That is a perfect form. I unfortunately missed this because I wasn't paying attention to my phone because I woke up early as well, and I grabbed my journal and I started writing every detail of the previous day because, you know, it's a day a dream came true, so I wanted to capture. Yeah. So I wasn't checking my phone when they're like, well, let's go do this. So I am sad I missed that. It was worth taking the quiet time to myself, though, to capture, you know, the previous day and my own thoughts written. Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't miss much because it was ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
Like I said.
That is true. I have a new appreciation for AC.
Yes.
Yeah. They have AC in Korea, and it is everywhere.
Just not outside.
But not outside. Not outside. And they definitely keep it localized to like each room. But they don't like do whole building, like it's localized to each room. Yeah.
Yes.
So like in the hallways of a building, it's going to be hot as heck. But you enter a room, then you got the AC in that room.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, thank goodness. And so just like that, we were on to the next place, actually.
And that concluded the physical aspect of our training. I mean, the rest of the trip is definitely sightseeing, appreciating the culture. There's a lot of like historical stuff coming up, but in terms of physical training, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a lot, but so grateful it happened.
Yeah.
I left there thinking nothing we do on this trip will even come close. No experience I have for the rest of this week is gonna come close to what happened yesterday. And I'm happy to say, boy, was I wrong. There was so much ahead. Okay, so we had a bit of a ride and we stopped for lunch. I was determined to catch a fish in Korea, and I will tell you right now, I failed. The opportunity presented itself, but it didn't pan out. But I brought a chillin' reel. Shout out Chillin' Reel, sponsor me. Which is basically just a hard can koozie with fishing line wrapped around it that has a hook. And I brought this thing to Korea and just say I've caught a fish in 3 countries instead of 2. Anyway, at this lunch, I had the realization that you don't have any bait, Tim, and where are you going to buy bait? And they were serving... This is a little gross, I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's a good story, so I'm going to just say it.
Yeah, go
They
ahead.
were serving sardines at this lunch. They were excellent, by the way. I'm normally not a sardine eater, but I tried them, and I'm like, ooh, hey, actually, how they make that is pretty good. I made myself try everything. When you travel, try everything. Anyway, I stole a few of them, put them in an empty water bottle. I figured they're already cooked, so like they're not going to rot and smell. and they didn't go on a smell. But basically, I was carrying around sardines. This is only day 3.
I didn't know that.
And for the whole trip, I'm carrying around a water bottle full of sardines in my backpack, along with this chillin' reel, waiting for the moment that I can catch a fish.
That is resourcefulness.
Thanks. It would be a better story if I actually caught the fish, but
it's about the effort, Tim. It's about the journey.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that lunch, I was feeling a little off. And it might have been the heat. It might have been the fact that I've never eaten so much rice in my life at this point. We get back on the bus and we're going to go to Buddhist Temple, which I was very excited about. And obviously Anne was very excited about because, as we've talked about in a previous episode, Annie recently became a Buddhist, and this was going to be Anne's first temple as a practicing Buddhist.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm just sitting there feeling kind of ill and just not happy about that fact, but I ain't a quitter, so I was gonna go through this temple no matter what. So we step off the bus. It's still a million degrees. The heat's hitting me. Whatever going on with my stomach is hitting me. We get in front of the temple. We're standing by a map. Irene's kind of explaining it to us. We love Irene. We love Irene. When I passed through that temple into, as Irene put it, Buddha's world, I don't know if it was the excitement in my mind and something else to focus on, or it was something different. I just, everything went away and I felt better. So that was cool.
Yes. Let me explain that gate.
Yes, because it's really cool.
So with the idea of the temple, it is the sacred space of Buddhism, and to really help with that, there's a gate that separates it from the outside world, and the gate is guarded by 4 figures that represent the different directions of the world, and they protect that space. So it makes it easier for you once you pass underneath the gate to leave everything on the other side of it. So the idea is once you pass through the gate, you're cleansed from suffering or from evil.
I physically just felt okay after that. The heat stopped bothering me, whatever was going on with my stomach. I was can't explain it. Don't know if it was just had other things to focus on or something deeper. All I'm saying is that was pretty nice that happened, and I was able to feel like myself and fully appreciate where I was. Okay, so Irene was explaining to us before we went in, where she's kind of looking at the map and she's like, look at the water, look at the rivers, the river that runs through. She's like, in China and Japan and their temples, their water is very abstract, meaning it's a perfect circle, it's a perfect square, it's a perfect shape. They want to dominate nature. They're kind of,
I think of Zen garden in perfection.
Yeah, they're Irene's words, not mine. They're afraid of nature. And then she's like, we Koreans, we're not afraid of nature. We love the naturalness. So the pond in there was very natural shape. The river / creek that ran through it, very, very free flowing, very natural looking. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
As someone who loves the natural world and loves the outdoors, I loved that that this beautiful space was created, but it also was created with the natural world, not
in mind,
trying to dominate the natural world.
They say everything is minimized, and they are scared about the nature all the time. There are lots of earthquake and the typhoon, and they worry about the nature. But we don't worry about the nature. Korean and the Japanese are totally different persons.
It was nothing short of beautiful, and this was in Kyongju.
Yep. So as we stated, Anne, this was your first temple as someone who recently became a Buddhist. So I just want to hear your thoughts, your experiences. Take us through what was going through your head. I was just happy to be there.
The Buddhist temple was it was beautiful. It was the first Korean one I had seen as well, and it was just particularly colorful. It was really stunning, and it just felt so right, and it was just really a nice moment to just reinstate how much I really like Buddhism as far as my path in life right now is this is what I really need. It centers you on finding your your inner Buddha, because we all have that. And I was talking with Irene about it too, because she had noticed my particular interest in it. She took a moment to explain a lot of these things to me, and it was beautiful noticing how this is still alive, and it's a really ancient practice, and everything from this stream of blessed water, the water of purity and of youth, something that you could drink, and it was very ritualistic, and humans are ritualistic creatures.
Indeed we are.
It was great to see all of the prayers written. You can buy little tokens to write your own prayers on, and the money goes straight to the temple, and so that's like in turn your donation.
As someone who was raised and still identify themselves as a Catholic, I would compare it to like a parish intention, asking people to pray for you. It had a similar feeling.
Yeah. And I really enjoy how it's just such an open concept where anyone who's anybody can just go in and they can meditate, and they can spend time focusing on Buddha and his teachings. It was really great to share all of that with all of you.
The thing that struck me was, there were obviously people there practicing their religion, and clearly all these people who were just tourists being around didn't bother them whatsoever.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool and very beautiful. I mean, Buddhism is from what I can tell, is a very individual journey. There I think there's community there, but it's also like an individual journey. And if I got something out of this trip other than the martial arts stuff, it's that I have a much deeper understanding of what Buddhism now is, and I'm very, very grateful for that, because I only had the academic understanding of it.
Yes.
But just something about being there and seeing someone actually like practicing, and like seeing what it meant for you to be there, and how happy you were there to have that experience left me with a much deeper understanding and appreciation. I got to meditate in the temple. I had a seat, and I meditated there, and that was something. I actually got to do that twice. We ended up going to 2 temples. This was the first, but I mostly did it because I wanted to take my shoes off. Again, I think shoes are foot prisons, but when you entered the space to actually meditate, is prayer the right word?
It's kind of like that's what I say.
Okay.
It is a type of prayer,
because
it's not entirely.
It's not prayer to a deity, because there is no deity. So that's why I feel weird using the word prayer. But
some people use the translation to wishes, but that also is. There's no perfect translation.
Yeah, because wishes feels too small.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm gonna use the word meditate. I wasn't trying to practice Buddhism or perform. I just wanted to reflect on the space.
Yes,
and respect
and the word
the space.
Prayer definitely throws people off, because they're like, "Oh, I have my idea of what prayer is, and I don't think that's what's happening here." And you're totally right. It's different, and it's because it is so different that we don't really have like a great word for it. To explain it in a sentence, it would be focusing on. It would be focusing on the sutras, like the 108 prostrations, for example, is a practice that people do to think about the cleansing of the mind. They think about all the things, like the 108 defilements, the things that make us imperfect, and it really can focus your mind on how to cleanse yourself. It's all about self-betterment, like with those people that are in the temple that are completely unbothered with people entering their space. Some people could be upset, like in Catholicism, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, you're not supposed to drink from the cup, or you're not supposed to take communion if you're not Catholic. In Buddhism, there is no I. So what people meditate on is that we're all the same, and that creates a very deep understanding and empathy and love for our fellow people, because everyone is a part of you, and you are a part of everyone else. So it's a very wonderful, deep concept that really amplifies empathy and understanding for people, and everyone genuinely wants each other to reach enlightenment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that is a very powerfully descriptive thing. Definitely a highlight.
Everyone was asking me questions about it after. I was so happy to be able to be like, I get to share this.
It was very exciting to be there with you because, you know, I'm not Buddhist and I don't plan to become Buddhist. But getting to see it through your eyes with your excitement, and you know, you just had the biggest eagerness in which you entered that space. Irene told us about a chant, and she told us the Korean, and I obviously didn't remember the Korean, but she also told us the English, and I did give it a bit of a try in my head as I was meditating again, because to respect the space and when in Rome. Basically, the English was to the Buddha of the past, to the Buddha of the present, to the Buddha of the future.
Right.
It's a very, very centering idea. I think I said to you, like, was that right? And then it became clear there's not a wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Amitabha Buddha was also the chant that was in the background. And I was curious if it was like on a speaker or if it was someone saying it there. I don't know. I have questions, but hearing the chanting is also it's grounding, and it creates a slightly bit more of like a lull for your mind too, which is always really nice.
Yeah, from a meditation standpoint, it does help get your mind into that clear space. And yeah, this is all to say very deep philosophical stuff, and then there's just the fact that this was an incredibly beautiful space. So, continuing, we go to some museums in Kyongju, which is a city pretty far south in the country. It's at the bottom of the peninsula.
And it happens to be the capital of the Silla Dynasty, which we all lost our minds about, right? Because in Taekwondo, we grow up hearing about the Silla Dynasty, you know, like all the forms.
All Korean martial arts really
like,
trace
all from the Silla
things
Dynasty,
to Silla.
You know, like Wanyo, Buddhism, and the Silla Dynasty. Just Silla Dynasty. We went to the capital
of the kingdom of Silla, which again doesn't exist anymore. But historically, we went to the capital.
And there's Easter eggs. There's Easter eggs everywhere.
When we realized, wow, we are in Silla, the place where the haram dough came from.
And there was I think it was a street sign that I lost my mind for. Oh, it was so that city is full of burial mounds. So we'll get more into that. We got to go inside one, but when we were taking the bus through, we just see like these rolling mounds. A lot of them are untouched burial mounds just in the city. They did one excavation of one, and they found so much. And Yu Shin was in one of those.
Yes.
And he has his own form. Crazy.
Yeah.
We were by his body.
Secondary form, I believe.
Oh, we're just losing our minds. This is just this is everything.
So to start with the museums, there was a history museum.
Yes.
And there was an art museum. And Anne's like, well, which one do you want to go in first? I'm like, I'm a history guy. I love art, but I came here for history. We'll check out.
Good choice. That was the best one.
We'll check out art if we have time, and we did, and it was cool. So we get in this museum, and lots of cool, amazing artifacts.
Like brass and old armor. Lots of jewelry.
Yep. Some of the stuff was found in those mounds.
From the Silla Dynasty.
Yeah.
Okay. She works. So, hey, today is day 3, I think. And anyway, we're here at the Silla Dynasty's capital, and I'm at the museum. And right now, I'm just looking at look at all this jewelry. Like, girl, imagine being a higher up during this time, and you just pull out all of this drip. Like, can you imagine? Oh, so beautiful. I can't wait to see all the things that we could wear. We just got back from a Buddhist temple, and that was the best. It is an absolute sauna. Hey, Tom, so bad at vlogging. Don't worry, I'll get better. But anyway, I'm just doing this so that you can see anyway. Anyway. My God. Oh. I need that. Anyway, so the Buddhist temple was really nice. It was just 95 degrees outside. It is so hot. It's like a sauna. And honestly, I'm doing a lot better than I thought. But you can see my hair is up. And I have stuff in here because it is sweaty. Yes. Say that again. I have a microphone for it.
So something like while walking around in a museum like Korea, something that I've been taking interest in is seeing like what makes a natural history museum based on the objects they display compared to like an art museum. Because some of the things you're seeing in natural history museums, typically, they still have like the designs that art would have. So I'm seeing like why is it in this museum compared to maybe the one next door where it's the Fine Art Museum.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, I mean, however you phrase it, however you think about it, the passage of time, all things end. That's basically what that was saying. No matter how great, no matter how bold, time ends it all. So, I'm like, if I see the word harong, I'm gonna geek out. Mm-hmm. And of course, Harongdo Youth Group, early stages of Taekwondo and where Taekwondo inspiration pulled from. Anyway, we're walking around. Chloe sees an artifact. It's literally only a slightly big stone. Completely unremarkable, to be honest. But she goes, Tim, harong. My voice goes up an octave. Really, harong? And I start walking towards
and
her.
I'm I'm probably 20 feet away, and I hear this man say harong, and I'm like, harong. So
I'm like moving into the spot, Anne's booking there, and then this random Korean man, clearly doesn't speak English, recognizes our excitement and pulls up his phone and is like pointing at the Google Translate app.
So that we could read it.
Taps the app, takes a picture, translates it to him, and hands us his phone so we can read.
Yes, and I took a screenshot so that we could read it longer, to be courteous, so that he didn't have to hold it there while we studied this. Yeah, we're really into this.
Were we capable of doing that with our own Google Translate? Absolutely, but the fact that he just recognized that some foreigners were getting real excited about harong, and without almost real quickly was just like, oh, I got you guys.
Yeah, it was so great. It was a moment for sure.
And we're just like, kamsamida. Which FYI is about the only Korean word I use successfully. I tried a few others, but I think the only one I could really nail down was thank you. Yeah. That was one of a few examples of how nice, at least from what I could tell, the Koreans seemed to be, at least for the 8.5 days that I was in their country.
Yeah, awesome.
The museum explained these mounds are all around the city of Kyongju. The reason they know that they're burial mounds is in 1973, kids were running around with like gold, and a police officer asked kids, "Where did you get that?" And the kids told them. That led to some calls, and that led to some historical excavation. And it was determined these mounds were from the 1500s, from one of the many Japanese occupations of Korea. Hey, Japan, stop occupying Korea. You know, it's an old game. Don't do it anymore.
Oh, y'all, stop colonizing.
Yeah, it's a joke that with the way the world is, and the way alliances are, that should never happen again. But
so a lot of them remain untouched.
Yes, a lot of them do remain untouched because these are burial grounds. But like that, I bring the story up in the museum as we read that story in the museum. And we get on the bus, and then Irene tells us the story. Mm-hmm. So I do want to take a second to just acknowledge the art museum. What did you think of the art museum?
Oh yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the art museum of Buddhism as well. I got like a sign that said that, but there was the art museum was just all of these. It was all like stone statues of different
It
depictions.
was,
of
it
Buddha.
was, and there was the female depiction of Buddha.
Kuan Yin.
Yep, and you were
These are
very
typically
excited to see that.
Buddhistas, so there's different like lesser peoples, not lesser, just so that you can understand the hierarchies. There's
Yeah.
people that were followers of Buddha.
Didn't Buddha have apostles as well?
Oh yeah, he had, I think it's 62.
62.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know
look
where I
up that
thought
number.
got 16, but either way. So, like, I guess it was cool because we had just been to a Buddhist temple,
Yeah,
and now we're seeing Buddhist
really
inspired
early
art.
imagery.
Yeah.
Hi. So just in case my microphone didn't work on that last one, I'm now in the Korean Art Museum. I'm now in the Korean Art Museum for Buddhist art. So it'll be really exciting to see what's on here. And again, it seems like we have the whole place to ourselves again. And so that's kind of sweet. You want to see?
All right, the conclusion between the Natural History Museum and the Fine Art Museum is it's not really that different. Like, the things presented there aren't that different. The only thing I would say that makes things, I guess, more artistic is how much more you can see of some sorts of, like, the design. So, for example, like, some of the plates would be, like, you could see the design within the natural history ones, but like they had wear and tear, and there was wear and tear in the fine art ones, but you could see better as to what they were supposed to be. So,
And after going through that museum, you know, you and I sat on a bench waiting for everyone. We had many good conversations on the trip, but one of our best ones because we were just debriefing that temple experience.
Oh yeah, that was the best one. What did we talk about?
We basically just talked about your temple experience, you know,
Oh yeah, and
my
how
temple
monumental
experience,
that was.
how I was like, I think I finally understand Buddhism, because I've always found religion to be a fascinating topic and one worth studying and understanding, but I just never quite got Buddhism. And I think that day, to some degree, I have an understanding of what it is and why it's an attractive.
And same for me. I mean, it's difficult for us to picture because it is literally on the other side of the planet, and from where it originates, especially this type, is like Asian type of
Yeah.
Buddhism. It's hard to understand and it's hard to comprehend until you see it. And even for myself, sometimes I feel like one of the only people around here that do. And so it was a moment for me too. To really to see it, and this is their reality here.
Yeah. And one of the things from that conversation that we haven't talked about that is worth mentioning real quick is you had been to a temple in China when you had traveled to China years back.
I did.
So you were able to compare and contrast the two, and that was really cool to hear the differences.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to share some real
Oh
quick
yeah,
before we
of
move
course.
on?
Because in China it was slightly different because they like to have incense, and so in the entrance of the temples, everyone can get incense for a nickel, and you get this bundle where it helps you offer prayers because the release of smoke can reach heights, and Buddhism is all about like feeling higher up and your higher self. All these metaphorical things, conceptual things are always above us and our plane of thinking. And so I had brought mine, and this was before I had ever really decided to be self-proclaimed Buddhist, and I was just thinking about it because it was so long ago, and I think I was just a bit more hesitant, and I didn't want to step on toes, and I was like, can I really do this? Are they going to feel a certain type of way? Because I know some people just really like they really just like to keep it within their culture. Like, how do they feel about sharing it? And so I was more reserved, but I felt such an intense love for it, and seeing the people there all offering up all of themselves to whatever it is that they are wanting, needing, and begging for in life. And yeah, quite wonderful places to exist in and to take yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing a little bit of the difference. We could probably go deep into your trip in China, but we can't do that right now. So after the museum, we did check out these burial mounds, and we did get to go in one. What's cool about that is mentally I was comparing it to the Native American tradition of
Oh yeah, people love
burial
mounds.
Yeah.
People. We love them.
we and there's a few other things that came to mind, like making big piles of earth.
Kind of it reminds me of the pyramids as well, because they're impenetrable with stone. So obviously there's grass, and all we see is the grass on the outside, but underneath that is just impenetrable stone. So Irene even talked about how when they first figured that these things were a thing, the archaeology wasn't really a thing for their country, because they just hadn't really developed yet.
Well, there's also the fact that from 1910 to 1945, the Japanese were occupying Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 1950 to 1953, there was the Korean War. And then you have to recover from the devastation of that. So yeah, archaeology was, like we said, it was 1973 when those boys found that gold. And
so much gold and so much riches inside these, and the white horse that is very popular. A lot of the imagery that comes from this tomb makes me think, because archaeology is within that, so I was really in my archaeology brain. It's such an interesting choice for me to see so many burials untouched, because a lot of us are just so hungry for knowledge, and there's so much that we can learn from these gold mounds of information. But they didn't want to touch them because of the second air hits a lot of these things, just instant disintegration, huge loss of mass, and archaeology is destruction too, so it's hard to weigh that. And it's just kind of a beautiful choice, isn't it? That they just
it is a beautiful choice. And these are burial mounds. These are resting places for individuals, so it's good they're respected. You talked about those those stacking rocks. I have a confession to make. I think you saw it. In the one we were able to go into, I accidentally leaned against them, not quite realizing the significance. They hold up.
I didn't know.
Oh, I did. It was someone told me, like, "Tim, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh no!"
What?
And
you leaned against what?
The rock wall structure that was holding up the interior of the mound.
That's funny. I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad, but I realized, I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, incredible time, and I really wonder who's all in all these mounds.
Yeah, I will say I appreciated getting to go in these mounds, not just for the historical significance, but again, it was hot as heck, and underground is a little bit cooler than above ground.
Right. I want to say that day, it was so hot. I was actually starting to get incredibly worried about my troop. One of our members, it was just so hot that she started getting white in the fingers, and I've never seen heat stroke before. I've never really experienced true heat exhaustion, and a lot of us, we were bordering on heat stroke, and so I was just, wow, it was hot, and we pushed through all of that.
Yeah,
like it was nothing.
Drink water.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we're all ridiculously hydrated.
So our hotel in Kyongju was on a lake, and the tail of that lake is a tale for the next day.
Yeah.
For now, though, this has been Kicking It, a martial arts journey.
Stay tuned for the part 2.
Yeah, stay tuned for more Korea.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Good to see you. If you are enjoying the podcast and you want to help me keep creating martial arts content, consider supporting the show. Every donation allows me to keep sharing stories and insights with you. I've been buying pretty cheap things when I can, but we both know that that's not what you deserve. I would be very thankful if you could help me continue with this project that I'm doing. If you want to support me, but you're like me, in the same boat, don't worry. It is free to promote, to share, and share in the real world too with your friends and your classes. That is the best way to help out a friend, and it's 100% free. But if you have some extra money and you love me, if you have some extra money and you love me, I can be found on Facebook page, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. It all works out. So your support helps this community keep growing and focusing on what is important in martial arts. Thank you for being a part of our journey.